we're in one of those alternating days of winter. Gosh, it was like 3 days ago. It was darn near 90. But goes from summer to winter to summer to winter. That doesn't bother me. It is what it is. Weather-wise, what do you do about it? What really gets me, and this could be filed under the column of people are stupid and short-sighted, is this whole deal about the super site, the mega factory to build EV batteries, EVs, the champions of the environment, ecologically responsible. And so Ford is partnering up with a Chinese company. And I'm not going to say that like CATL has direct connections with Xi Jinping, the Chinese Communist government. It's not really the point because probably everything does, at this point. But Ford is partnering up with China. And they're going to build a major factory in Michigan, and I believe one in Tennessee also, which, is neither here nor there. I am not against manufacturing. You have to produce stuff to reap rewards. But here's the deal. The amount of money that taxpayers, the state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, are pumping into this battery factory is astounding. For example, one of the largest landowners where this mega site is going to be constructed was an investment company out of Indiana. They owned 750 acres of farmland, which they bought for, if you're really concerned, look up the numbers yourself. I believe it was $5.5 million. And the state of Michigan wrote them a check for $18 million. So there's big money involved in this. That's the way government works. But notwithstanding, a company from Indiana made big bucks on this. Instead of building this major manufacturing site, you would think, this is Michigan, where are they going to do it? Let's revitalize Detroit. Detroit, once the industrial powerhouse of Michigan, that's already disturbed ecologically and crumbling because, jobs. Instead of building the factories in Detroit, let's bring back Detroit. Let's bring jobs to Detroit. No, people are like a freaking virus. It goes from cell to cell to cell, destroying everything in its wake. They are, hang on to your shorts, sports fans, Ford and its Chinese partner are going to destroy upwards of 2,000 acres of farmland in a currently basically non-industrial area along the I-94 corridor, along the Kalamazoo River in Marshall Township, Michigan. I believe Marshall Township, although they're going to annex it so it can be industrial. People never learn. We're stupid. It's easier to do this, so let's do this instead of doing the hard work and revitalizing Detroit, bringing back industry to Detroit. We're just going to destroy a whole bunch of farmland because it's easier. Let's just level the fields, level the woods, do whatever to the Kalamazoo River. Screw the river. In the name of being environmentally sound. It's the irony of people is astounding. The hypocrisy of people is astounding. How dare they stand up and say, we're going to do something to save the earth, and at the same time, instead of reestablishing industry in a historical industrial town, we're going to destroy freaking farmland. There's no sense in that. I'm not going to get into the whole Bud Light thing. I look back in my beer drinking career. I was a beer drinker, boy. Now not so much. A couple beers now and then. But between the ages of, 17 and 35, boy, I was a beer drinker. And not just a couple beers. I would down a 12-pack. I was practiced and a strong beer drinker. And in all that time, in my 62 years, boy, I have never once had a Bud Light. I put it into the category of cheap beers. I have the good beers I drink. I like a good, craft stout. I want a beer Stout is not a beer, but let's just put it into the beer genera. In a clear glass, I want to look at a light and not see light through it. That to me is a good solid drink. Going down a step, and not a huge step, Guinness. I like Guinness. Not so much Guinness draft in the bottle, but Guinness, extra stout or whatever it is. I'm blanking here. Pretty reasonable stuff. Going down into the Pilsners and the lagers, Heineken. It's my go-to decent beer. And when I like to drink a cheap beer, PBR. Never a Budweiser or a Bud Light, so I'm beyond that whole thing that's happening now. So, and the one thing, I'm a loyal person, but I'm not loyal to beer. This is the only thing I drink. You know, you get into that cheap range of beer, which Budweiser and Busch and all those Anheuser-Busch products fall into, along with PBR, Old Milwaukee. I like me an Old Milwaukee. I used to drink Carling Black Label. The best beer I've ever had in my life, the cheap beer, was Beer. I think that was made by Falstaff, but don't quote me on that. I'm currently on the hunt for a 6-pack of Hams. I think I had one Hams when I was like 21. I don't even remember what it's like, but I'm tantalized. Hams is tantalizing me. You look around, you can't find Hams really anywhere. Found a case in our local grocery store, but I'm not going to buy 24 of an unknown I don't know. Get a tall boy. It's out there. Maybe a 6-pack. I can work my way through a 6-pack of stuff that's not stellar. I tried Miller last year. Was not impressed. The champagne of beers did not impress me. Stroh's, we drank the hell out of that in kegs. You know, when we were younger, when we bought a keg, it was always Stroh's. Schlitz, not so much. I think I might have had a Blatz once, but you know, I'm going to revisit some of these cheap beers. Not Budweiser, not Bud Light, of course. But yeah, going to try Hams. Might try Schlitz again, see what it's about, Blatz. Because looking back on it, remember when you were a kid and you would sneak a beer? There was something special about it. The first time I had a beer, I think I was 16. I think it was Schlitz in a keg. And it had a magic flavor to it. I'm going to see if chasing that first beer taste will pay off. Try going back and investigating them. But anyway, I'm stalling. Oh my gosh, I mean, the trails are all in 100% tippy-top shape, aside from the shredded bark, which is going to come here the first part of May. Everything is good. I better get out and see if the boardwalks are slippery, though. Check that out. Been digging ditches. Past couple days, because the water content in this preserve changes to a great degree, I have to change drainage along the trails. I'm not draining the swamp, just in the vicinity of the trails. Keep them hardened. That's a trail term. And digging ditches. 62-year-old body out there digging in the muck. I'm going to have to break out the chainsaw because sometimes there's like logs and sticks and heavy stuff in the area where you have to trench, and there is no, I can't do it. You have to do it. Going to have to go subterranean in the swamp to like cut underground logs out, clear the ditches with a chainsaw. Which leads me to the last bit. Go on YouTube, the rabbit hole of YouTube. There's all this talk about, you know, this, that, and influencers and stuff. They seem to have this modern version of humanity seems to totally ignore, to keep civilization running. You have to have people that are going to go out in thunderstorms and blizzards at 2 in the morning to repair power lines that are down, or transformers that were hit by trees, or build roads, or rebuild bridges, or just simply dig ditches. They think that an economy of a society can just be powered by TikTok and how blue your hair is, you know, when in fact society, and let's look at Chicago, the escapades of the misguided youth protesting or whatever. You know, sometimes it gets down to you just have to bust your ass working to keep things running. And these people don't get that. Universal basic income, having housing and free food is a human right. Well, shoot, who's going to drive the trucks to bring that food to the store? Who's going to build the store? Who's going to keep the power on in the store? Who's going to repair the store? Who's going to... Welcome to the 2020s, my friends. The whole idea of work is now foreign. Everything is a human right, should just be given to us. Well, you know where that's going to get us? It's going to get us like fighting for scraps and living in burned out houses and in anarchy. Anarchy, I tell you. There, I did it. I made a video. And I'm going to put it up because I'm a proud American. Making my voice heard, last bit. And so I was going down the rabbit hole of YouTube, and there's this thing, The View. Oh my gosh. Do any of you actually watch The View as a serious show, or do you just watch clips like on the quartering and stuff? Whoopi Goldberg and her group of cackling hens are talking about how ridiculous the right is for what is that, boycotting Bud Light. Ain't that the... Oh, I can't use that phrase. I'll get canceled. Isn't that hypocritical? As if the left doesn't boycott everything at the drop of a hat, and now they're saying that boycotting if you're on the right is stupid. I mean, seriously. Seriously. The hypocrisy of people is astounding. I love that meme. It's like in 1950, we thought that we would have hover cars by this point, but instead, I can't even say that, I'll get canceled. It has to do with a certain stuff that you put on pancakes. But yeah, that's it. Have a good one, stay sane, and do your best to just freaking escape the cities. I mean, that's it. You watch what's happening here, the evolution. These people, you can't solve the problem unless you're willing to identify it. You know, all the stores closing and stuff, the evolution of the cities, all the businesses are going to leave. And I hate to say it, but hopefully all the people that are causing the troubles, hopefully they'll be trapped in the cities and they won't escape to like civilized America, the zones that are still functioning. It's ridiculous. I would say that something has to change, but it's not. Something is not going to change because we have reached the tipping point and past it. Just look at that guy that has these short things. It's like the interview. How many states are in the U.S.? 13? What country is north of us and what country is south of us? And I actually heard somebody say that the country south of us is the North Pole. Reached the tipping point in education. How are you going to maintain schools if you don't have teachers? Teachers have left because the students are out of control. It's just going to get worse. Homeschool. That's all I have to say.